Before heading overseas for Clash in Italy, WWE rolled into Columbus, Ohio for our packed Go Home Raw that featured the final build for the company's latest premium live event. What went down when World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, Oba Femi, and Brock Lesnar and The Vision were all under the same roof? Find out with this recap of the Memorial Day broadcast, including star ratings and analysis for each of the night's top matches and segments. For This Is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there, welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio. I am joined, as always, by good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and the Phenom, Michael Bullock, in the house tonight. At the end of this show here tonight, I want to set something up for you all, for you fine folks here. At the end of tonight's show, good old MF, Michael Fletcher, not only will be plugging the future content, because the next shows we do after tonight are going to be both on his channel. It's only fair that he plugs them both. And on top of that, MF has a huge announcement regarding a show we're going to be doing this Sunday. So stay tuned. You do not want to miss that major bombshell announcement from good old MF Michael Fletcher. Very exciting. We cannot wait for that. We missed you all. It's been a few days. The boys and I, we decided to, recharge, and we had a nice long holiday weekend, and we got to relax and recharge the batteries, if you will. But we're all ready to rock and roll once again, and we apologize for the lack of content. It was because of that mainly. We apologize for not having the reviews of TNA Impact, Friday Night SmackDown, and Saturday night's main event, but it is what it is. So, but we're back, and we're better than ever, and we're ready to rock and roll here tonight. So, back to our normal routine here on Ridiculously Raw. We have Monday Night Raw and NXT on the docket for this evening. So, with all that being said, let's get back to work, gentlemen, after the long holiday layoff there. So, we started off, of course, as always, with Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw, of course, live last night on Memorial Day. No better way to cap off the Memorial Day weekend than with Monday Night Raw emanating from the Schottenstein Center on the campus of the Ohio State University. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. 1 week. Got this block in my way. I apologize. Give me 1 second. Okay. 1 week after Brock Lesnar made his shocking return and attacked Oba Femi, downing him with 4 F5s and setting up a WrestleMania rematch on Sunday at Clash in Italy, Paul Heyman kicked off Raw by hyping a match that does not need it. He threw to a pre-tape promo from Lesnar, who vowed that Femi's win in Las Vegas would cost him more than he can ever imagine, before conceding he was humbled at WrestleMania. Heyman claimed Femi has awakened the beast incarnate, but before he could finish his sentence, the Ruler's music cut him off. The former NXT champion entered the ring, backed Heyman into the corner, and issued some words of warning, claiming Sunday's match will be the final chapter. He signed the contract and finished by telling the wise man to deliver a message to Lesnar for him. At WrestleMania, I was fighting to beat him. Sunday, I am fighting to kill him. Whew. Wow. Phenomenal segment overall, with another excellent verbal performance from Oba Femi. WWE has rarely allowed its superstars in this modern era to utter the word kill in regards to an opponent. This was a rare occasion and only added greater gravity to Sunday's match. And instead of throwing up both hands during his in-ring pose, Femi kept one ready to defend himself and even looked over his shoulder on guard after last week's sneak attack. It was one of the little things that helped enhance the segment. But overall, guys, this was a phenomenal segment. Like I said, another excellent verbal performance from Oba Femi, and nothing more to say. MF, Oba, he backed Paul Heyman into the corner, and he told Lesnar, he told him to tell Brock Lesnar, I'm not at WrestleMania. I was fighting to beat him. Sunday at Clash in Italy, I'm fighting to kill him. Whoa.
I will say this. This whole segment was perfection. Even Brock Lesnar was absolutely spot on. You know, a lot of the times we always criticize Brock Lesnar for being stiff on promos or anything else. This was one of those that really even had me like, oh my God. When Brock Lesnar goes out and is like, you know, he talked about the loss at WrestleMania, talked about how, you know, that he got overpowered. And he told Oba, you know, what's going to happen, you know, how do you respond after getting your ass kicked? And the way he prefaced it had me going, oh my freaking God. This was Lesnar's personal best. And then Oba comes out and just does what Oba does. This match on Sunday between Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar is without a doubt, I can't even explain it. It gets even better because we thought the match at WrestleMania, even though it was short, it was sweet, it was straight to the point, but it made up a difference. This time around, you can sense that Lesnar is more focused. Lesnar is ready. Oba's ready for anything. And I think the attack was a wake-up call to Oba, like, I cannot fall for that trap again. I got caught the first time around. I cannot get caught a second time. And you notice, like you said, even when he did his signature pose, he had one arm down and he was looking like he was expecting Brock to parlay again, to double dip. Brock did it this time. He cut it at the promo. That's all we needed. And it's a darn shame this is not the main event. Because, oh my freaking God, this match is cooking. We thought WrestleMania was insane. This might even top WrestleMania. Like, I can't believe this. But I gotta say it. This might actually top WrestleMania. And that's insane to even think. Now, who I think's gonna win, you're gonna have to wait till Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk to find out who we have, because we will be previewing that event on Friday. But I will say this. This already has me already saying, shut up and take my money. Like, the minute Brock came back, I was like, oh, because I did not think that was even possible. But here we are. And now I'm just like, let's go. Get me to Turin. Get me to that fight. Get me to that match. Let's freaking go is all I can say. I'm hyped. I'm already hyped for this match. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, you thought their match at WrestleMania was something. I think their match at the rematch at Clash in Italy is going to be even better. I mean, the build for this has been it's been really good. I mean, especially what Oba Femi said last night when he said, "I'm not coming to beat Brock Lesnar. I'm coming to kill him." How many guys can say that about Brock Lesnar? Oba Femi's not intimidated by Lesnar at all.
Not many, Michael Bullock. Not many men can actually say that. Maybe Undertaker at WrestleMania 30, but that's the closest guy that I could think of that has garnered this kind of level for Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Well,
let's not forget. Well, like, don't forget that one of the greatest Raw chats we ever had, that legendary pull apart brawl between the Undertaker
Yeah, but
and Brock
remember,
Lesnar, 2015.
It was Lesnar who was the one that when he said to the Undertaker, "I will kill you,"
Yeah,
and
he
the
said,
Undertaker said,
I will kill you.
and the
And Undertaker said,
Undertaker
"You're gonna have to."
"Yeah, I mean, thank goodness
There's
we
an
didn't have
example right
anything.
there.
Thank goodness these two were in the
Hmm.
same building because if these two went at it, you would have had to bring in the 82nd Airborne to contain these two
To break up
monsters.
that one.
Yeah, officials and referees aren't going to be they're not going to be enough to break these two. And whoever's going to be the ref for this match in Italy, good luck, because you are going to need it. I mean, great promo. All I can say is I cannot wait for this rematch this Sunday. So really got nothing more to say. You guys pretty much said everything, so let's move right along, Florio.
First match of the night, a title match, an impromptu, randomly thrown together, but we will gladly take this. A randomly thrown together Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match. The champion, Penta, defending against the young OG, Javon Evans. And the winner of the match, in 11 minutes and 35 seconds, and still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, it is Penta MF. Penta wins the match in 11:35. He went to show some respect to Javon, but Javon Evans did not shake his hand. Could they possibly be hinting at a heel turn for the young OG?
No, I kind of feel like that was just kind of one of those where it was just a heartbreaker for Javon. I hope they don't turn him heel. I don't think he needs to turn heel. I think Javon is a great baby face. I just think it was just the spur of the moment, the level of competition, because this was a massive opportunity for Javon, and Penta, just was that better. He outsmarted Javon. He outdid what he needed to do. That was a big win for Javon Evans. Big win. I mean, big win for Penta. Penta's just continuing on. Remember, he got a big win at the Saturday night's main event, successfully defending the title over Ethan Page. Thank God that doesn't mean, and thank God for the sanity for you, Anthony Floyo, for you, Michael Bullock, because now the all ego title will never come into existence. We'll still have the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship running around here on Monday Night Raw. And then with Javon Evans, this was a 3.5-star bout, a great matchup. I think it was more that I think Javon was kind of like disappointed. It was a heartbreaking loss because he came so close to becoming the Intercontinental Champion. And I just think it's kind of more of I think he was more upset because he lost the match. And sometimes that happens, guys. I know you want to be showmanship and everything else, but spur of the moment, when everything's riding on the line, sometimes the emotions get the better of him. And I think that's what it was. I think Javon's emotions got the better of him. I hope they're not thinking of turning him heel. I don't think he needs to because Javon is uber over right now. I hope they don't stunt him by doing that because I really feel like that might hurt his career. Just me personally asking not to do it, but we'll wait and see. But I kind of feel like it's more of a spur of the moment because of the emotion and everything else that was riding on that fight, Anthony. I think that's why I feel like Javon, and that's why I feel like Javon didn't shake Penta's hand. But 3.5 stars, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with Fletch on this one. I mean, well, first off, 3.5 stars. I mean, a great match here, but I don't see them turning him heel. I mean, it would hurt his career. I mean, he's already popular right now as a babyface. I mean, I got a feeling that turning him heel, I think it would be I think it would be a step back for him. I mean, I mean, that's just how I feel with it. I mean, he's already popular. I mean, we've seen it not just with NXT, but in his early during his time on Monday Night Raw. Right now, I think he was just frustrated. I mean, to be so close and to not win it, I think he was just frustrated because you did see backstage later on he did apologize for it. So I think it was just a heat of the moment. He was just frustrated. I mean, you don't need to turn him heel. I mean, like I said, to me, it would be a step back for him. He's already popular, so just my opinion. It's yours, Florio.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, no need. There's definitely no need. I mean, but when you see something like that, that's the first thing that immediately comes to mind. And I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, oh God, I hope they're not turning him. But 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 anywho, 3.5 star match, absolutely. I'll tell you what, the finishing stretch was outstanding, with the audience having no idea of who was going to emerge victoriously. It was high drama, Shakespearean drama, and a perfect exclamation point on the preceding match. After the match, Javon Evans teased frustration, perhaps hinting at a heel turn, who once again came up short of winning championship gold. And but what about that one spot earlier in the match, that where he went through the ropes and his back caught off of the announce table? Oh God. Corey Graves said it in response to Evans' back smarting from the table spot. Smarting? He's damn near crippled. Great, smart, and witty follow-up by Corey Graves on that. So 3.5 stars, excellent match. So then we had an announcement was made. Michael Cole and Corey Graves reporting upon the revelation that Logan Paul will miss months of action after suffering a torn triceps this past Saturday night as part of Saturday night's main event against the Street Profits. Paul Heyman informed Austin Theory that he will continue to defend the World Tag Team Championship with Braun Breaker as his partner, as a result of a clause he put in all of the Vision's contracts. And then Theory responded by vowing to take out all the men who was responsible for hurting Logan Paul. And he started with Joe Hendry. As Joe Hendry crooned to his Fire Logan Paul song, Austin Theory attacked him with a steel chair. He beat the former TNA and NXT champion down and concluded his vicious assault with another chair shot, this time to his head and neck as he was in the ropes. So nothing really to speak of there. Backstage, Seth Rollins tried to talk sense into Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits, encouraging him to work with the Architect to take out the Vision while it is at its weakest. And then Montez Ford interrupted, and the tensions between him and Rollins reared their head again, leading to a match between them being made for later in the show, which we'll get to. The beatdown from Theory was short and sweet. It was not overthought, nor was it overbooked. The tag team champion did exactly as he promised. Paul Heyman got heat of his own and took out a popular babyface with whom the Vision is already feuding. Good, effective stuff. Not beating him next week will be key, or this will be rendered meaningless. It has been a while since anyone brought up Seth Rollins' history of betraying his closest friends and refusing to fall into the same traps that those competitors did. Ford refusing to side with Rollins before either turning heel himself or eventually recognizing they want the same thing is logical storytelling. And then it leads us into our next matchup of the night. Women's tag team action. Good one here, as it was Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. In their corner was the women's world champion Liv Morgan and the AAA Mega Campeon Dominic Mysterio. They teamed up against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and it was Bayley and Lyra Valkyria winning the match in 11 minutes and 15 seconds. Michael Bullock, another one of our legendary moments, as Dominic threw his mega Compion into the ring, and it was Roxanne and Bayley. They played tug of war with it, and Bayley's momentum allowed Roxanne to grab the belt, but in the process, accidentally nail Dominic Mysterio, allowing Bayley to roll up Roxanne for the win in 11:15. Uh-oh.
Oh man, I mean, well, what was the time of the fall first?
11:15.
I'll give this about 3.25, but yeah, when I saw that happen, I'm like thinking, oh, Roxanne may have some major explaining to do with that after that, but also what happened during the match. I mean, Liv Morgan once again, she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, interfering, and once again got ejected from ringside. I mean, she tried to do that last week with when the women's tag titles were on the line, and again this week. So, memo to Liv Morgan: if you're going to interfere, you better make sure the referee completely doesn't see it, because all it takes is for one look, and the referee is going to be like, I saw what you did, so therefore you're out of here. And that's what happened 2 weeks in a row for you. So, honey, you're going to have to do a better job of interfering, because the last 2 weeks, it's literally backfired on you. And as far as Roxanne is concerned, I don't know, guys. Could this be another sign of a slow, maybe where Roxanne turns on the Judgment Day? I don't know. I mean, so many questions that are left unanswered. So, but a big win for Bayley and Lyra, because now they're targeting Paige and Brie Bella and those women's tag team titles. So we'll see. So nothing more for me to say. 3.25, and Florio, I give it to you. I mean, Liv Morgan's got to do a better job when she's interfering. I mean, she's got to make sure the ref completely has his back, or her has their back turned.
That's exactly right. I mean,
because the last 2 weeks, I mean, last week and last night, she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar and got ejected 2 weeks in a row.
Indeed, she did, and we saw the first hit. We saw the first one there, Bullock, last week when we had our Raw chat last week. We definitely saw that one. I believe it was Jessica Carr who did the honors for ejecting Liv Morgan from ringside. Last night it was NXT referee Derek Sanders, aka Tom Castor. He did the honors in throwing out Liv Morgan last night, and heel 101, if you will, on being a good heel 101. I guess we could call this class. If you're gonna interfere like that, you need someone to distract the referee. That's where Dominic comes in. You could have had Dum Dum there. Distract the referee. So that's how you be a good heel right there. But all that aside, this is about, I'll give it about 3.25. I mean, the match was fine, but a few disjointed spots hurt its overall quality. That we have seen the match quite a few times in recent months with no upward movement for either team did not help matters. I noticed that Lyra was either selling the life out of her left arm or she was legitimately hurt, as she appeared to be in considerable pain more than once in the match. And then Dominic attempting to aid Roxanne only to have it backfire should add to the story of Liv Morgan not trusting the ladder and her intentions in the Judgment Day. So definitely keep an eye on that. But 3.25 stars. Big win for Bayley and Lyra. Definitely will move them up the ranks in the women's tag team division. Perhaps a possible title shot down the road. We'll see. But 3.25, that's the best we can do here. So MF, Bayley and Lyra winning in 11:15 as Roxanne accidentally nailing Dominic with that AAA Mega Campeonato.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 3.25 stars. You're absolutely right. It was a fine matchup for what it was worth. And the thing is that, the psychology of the story, and yeah, is definitely going to rear its ugly head about, where's your loyalty, Roxanne, and everything else. But she can say, look, it was an honest mistake. I mean, Dom did try to bring the belt into the fray, and it just slipped and it hit him. So I don't know. Call miscommunication, call it a mistake, call it whatever you want. Um, you know, it's a big win for Lyra and Bailey more than anything else, because how many times have we been begging for Lyra and Bailey to get wins, to give them momentum to get a shot at the women's tag team titles? It looks like it's starting now. So I'm good with it. I'm glad that this happened. So no, 3.25, Anthony. Let's move on. Florio?
Yep, I'm here. I just stepped away for a moment. Just wanted to check something quickly on my end, but all right. All right, let's move on to our next moment here. LA Knight hit the ring for an in-ring promo. He drew his typical enormous reaction before addressing a few things, including next week. He entered his name in the mix and said that if he wins, he would immediately target Roman Reigns. He also said, "Where does that leave me with the Usos?" And claimed that if the megastar wins the King of the Ring, he will get a fair shot at Roman Reigns. Knight took issue with the way the Usos have done things lately and suggested that Jimmy is allowing himself to become the OTC's errand boy again. Uso threatened to make his family's business Knight's business if he is not careful. And Knight balked at the threat and told him he'll put the family business out of business if the bloodline is not careful. It may have been a little long-winded, but this was a great promo segment that accomplished several things. First, it introduced the King of the Ring tournament, kicking off on next week's show in Italy. Special start time, 2 p.m. next Monday, guys. Make note of that. Then LA Knight continued to try to talk the Usos out of making the same mistake they did 5 years ago by blindly following Reigns. Finally, it set the megastar up as a potential long-term opponent for the tribal chief, with whom he has unfinished business dating back 3 years. The Crown Jewel pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia in 2023. So keep all that in mind, guys. King of the Ring tournament. You know what that means. Whoever wins the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, that man and that woman will get the golden ticket. Will be the number one contender for their respective brands' world championship. So if, say for example, if LA Knight does indeed win the King of the Ring tournament, he would get a shot at Roman Reigns and the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. Same can be said for the women's side. Whoever wins the Queen of the Ring will, depending on which brand that winner is, will either get a shot at Rhea Ripley and the WWE Women's Championship, or possibly Liv Morgan and the Women's World Championship. I thought about maybe Oba Femi for King of the Ring. That could still happen. It could still happen. But I don't know who my front runner is on the men's side just yet. On the women's side, I'm going to make a bold prediction on who I think is going to win it on the women's side. I think it's going to be Stephanie Vaquer. I think Stephanie Vaquer is going to win Queen of the Ring, and I think she'll get her rematch with Liv Morgan at SummerSlam. And on that night, I believe Stephanie will take back and regain the Women's World Championship. So that's just my thought on the women's side. Men's side, I still think it's over, but we got to wait and see what the brackets look like when they come out next week. So we probably won't know that until we get to next Monday afternoon's Raw. Yeah, Monday afternoon Raw. We're back. And it will be that way for a couple weeks. So, all right. Moving on. Montez Ford, one-on-one with Seth freaking Rollins. And Seth Rollins wins the match in 12 minutes and 35 seconds. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Nearly 5 years after a high-profile SmackDown main event against Roman Reigns, Montez Ford again proved that he has the goods to hang with one of the elite in WWE. This was a great match that instantly put the Street Profit on Rollins' level, and more importantly, could propel his character forward. Either he will side with the Visionary or betray both him and his longtime partner, Angelo Dawkins. Either way, this feels like the start of the Montez Ford push we have waited for a long time. And then Austin Theory reappeared after the match and issued another brutal assault, this time to Angelo Dawkins, capping it off with a floor-assisted concerto. So I could honestly call this the fight of the night. I'm going to give this 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Excellent match. Not much more to say. MF, Seth freaking Rollins holding off a very game Montez Ford in 12:35 in what I thought was the fight of the night.
I totally agree. 3.5 stars. You could even make an argument for 3 3/4. That's how good this match was. The body of work was solid. All the action was fluid, and it looked really good. And yeah, Montez, give a credit for him. He was the MVP on this night. I thought Montez really shined under the spotlight. You know, this is one of the first major tests that he has under the lights with everything bright, and he did not disappoint. This was absolutely amazing. So yeah, 3 3/4. Bullock, go.
Yeah, 3.5, 3 3/4. This was the fight of the night. And yeah, Montez Ford has proven that he can hang with some of the big boys like Seth freaking Rollins. And with everything going on, who knows? Maybe Montez could go on his own eventually somewhere down the line. We'll see. But yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. I do believe this is where. Well, actually, no. We have one more bit of business here. A number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. This came about as a result of a backstage segment earlier in the show. Rusev took exception to Rey Mysterio receiving an Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match against Penta. So Rey told General Manager Adam Pearce to make a match between them, which he did. So this match, this is for the number one contendership for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. WWE Hall of Famer and new General Manager of AAA, Rey Mysterio, one-on-one with the Bulgarian Brute, Rusev. Winner of the match, 9 minutes and 25 seconds, and the next number one contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, Rey Mysterio. MF, Rey Mysterio wins the match in 9:25. Man, what a crazy couple of days. He wins this match last night, and then on Saturday, announced as the new general manager of AAA. They could not have picked a better representation.
Yeah, and the crowd absolutely popped on Saturday for Rey. It was no big surprise. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Rey, all in all, and it proved out to be true. Rey getting the Intercontinental title match against Penta. Now this is going to be very interesting because this is a classic match. If you know through AAA and everything else, Rey and Penta have never faced off. So even in the days of Lucha Underground, I don't think they've ever faced off, like in a one-on-one. So this is going to be historic. You're talking about two legendary Lucha Libre guys going at it for one of the richest prizes in WWE, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. This is going to be an unbelievable matchup, to say the very least. So, yeah, this was about, I want to say, another 3 stars. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3 stars as well. I mean, we're going to get to see Rey Mysterio and Penta one-on-one for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, and like you said, we've never seen them face off, and whether it's AAA or Lucha Underground, but now we're going to get to see it. I cannot wait. I mean, like you said, what a whirlwind couple of days for Rey. I mean, he gets this last night and then becomes the new general manager of AAA. I mean, yeah, the crowd was definitely excited. I mean, everybody was excited. Well, Fletch, with the exception of one person who was probably not happy about it. And that was Dum Dominic Mysterio. Ooh, you could just see the look on his face backstage when
Dad is home.
When he saw that, well, in his mind, that his deadbeat dad is the general manager. I think Dom was expecting a heel general manager.
He was actually expecting Dorian Roldan to be the general manager, and Marcela Peña, as gracefully and as she is the mother hen of AAA, she was the one that single-handedly handpicked Rey Mysterio to be the one to run the company, to run as general manager, because I think Dorian Roldan really thought that he was going to be the general manager. He thought that the mother was going to hand it off to the son to let him run it, and she went in a total different direction. He was even stunned and even upset because he thought he had it in the bag, and he didn't. And I think that's why a lot of the Rudos are not happy that Rey Mysterio is the GM, but he's already making some really good decisions already in AAA already right out of the gate.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say on it. 3 stars. So it's yours, Florio.
Some breaking news from the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder have just won Game 5 over the San Antonio Spurs, 127-114. Thunder now lead the series 3-2 with a chance to close it out on Thursday night in San Antonio, which would set up a rematch of the 1999 NBA Finals against the New York Knicks. So Thunder win, Thunder roll. They're up 3-2. So...
And by the way, congratulations to the New York Knicks. I mean, first time in the finals since 1999.
What a story.
And I'll tell you quickly, I think this justifies when the players wanted to get rid of Tom Thibodeau and they brought in Mike Brown, because there were some people who were skeptical of these players. And even Magic Johnson said, "Hey, it's on you guys now."
He did say that. And
yeah, and the players, I think, will say, "Hey, we're justified now."
They certainly are indeed justified. What a moment. So
I don't think they'll be justified until they win the championship. Even the Knicks fans, only because they
got farther than what they did last year.
No, and granted, but
they'll be even more justified if they win it.
But the New York Knicks fans have been suffering since 1973, Michael Bullock. Like, they don't care they're happy that they're in the finals, but it's one thing to be in the finals. It's another thing to
Now
win
they
it
gotta go
all.
win it.
And that's the big thing. Because since 1973, they've been in 2 NBA finals, 1994, 1999, and they lost both of them. So
Right.
for Knicks fans, for the New York Knicks fans, yes, we're happy, but now you gotta finish the job. You gotta win it all.
Finish the story.
And I got a feeling
that's the main thing.
I think the squad can do it. I mean, when you got
Oh yeah,
probably one of the most clutch players in the NBA in Jalen Brunson. I mean, and Carl Anthony Towns with how he's the OG Anunoby, who's won an NBA title with the Toronto Raptors.
yeah.
Mikal
2019.
Bridges has done really good, not just on offense
Mikal
but
Bridges,
defense as well.
Josh Hart,
Josh Hart.
the Villanova, they called them the Nova Knicks, and it's the Villanova boys that's brought them to the dance. So yeah, there's no doubt about it.
I think whoever comes out of that Western Conference, if they think they're going to have it easy with the New York Knicks, I think they could be in for a reality check.
Well, we shall see.
We'll find out come Wednesday, June 3rd, when it starts.
Next Wednesday, yes.
All right, let's
And
get
the following
back to this,
night,
Florida.
June 4th. The following night, June 4th, will be TXN Sports. And on that show, we will preview both the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals, and the UFL playoffs as well. So, but anyways, getting back to this, as far as my thoughts on the match, solid 3 stars. This has been a fairly strong night in ring for the flagship show, and another solid match here. Mysterio and Rusev have always excelled in heavyweight versus underdog bouts. Dragon Lee returning, a nice surprise, as he had been missing in action since WrestleMania. Where he fits in this Intercontinental picture, outside of what feels like a potential ladder rematch for the gold, is anyone's guess. But a show never gets worse with a talent of his caliber on the lineup. This is as talented and deep as the Raw mid-card has been in a long time. When you add in Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough, it gets even more impressive. I'm very pleased with our mid-card division right now. Absolutely. All right. Next week, the only thing that was announced for next week, per LA Knight, we will have the return of the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. We'll have more on that on next week's show. Jacob Fatu wasted no time putting pen to paper and signing the contract for Sunday's Tribal Combat main event at Clash in Italy. He then showcased the unpredictability and chaos that follows him by tossing the 2 office chairs and the table at security around the ringside area. Roman Reigns made his way to the ring, signed on the dotted line, and ordered Adam Pearce and security from the squared circle so he could address his cousin. The OTC predictably claimed that he would make Fatu acknowledge him. The top contender admitted that Reigns is the reason the bloodline is living as well as it is now, but called into question whether the tribal chief did things honorably at Backlash, reminding him that he used the exposed turnbuckle to pick up a tainted win. Reigns reminded the world of the consequences. If Reigns loses, he will acknowledge Jacob Fatu. If not, the Samoan werewolf has to serve the head of the table. Both are engaging talkers. They capture the audience's attention, even when what they have to say is more of the same than that we have heard countless times ahead of Sunday's premium live event. With that said, there was nothing new of substance here. It was the same rhetoric we have heard before, with the honorable tribal combat elements added in. Split the difference and go with a slightly above average rating for the main event segment, only because it did not end with another Tongan death grip or a wild and chaotic brawl like the last few. So, if it's okay, we can just move on unless you guys want to address it. I mean, that's more than fine.
I just want to be brief on it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest visual of it was them having that little head-to-head. Yeah, and when I mean the head-to-head, it's like it was that spiritual moment where they just come together, show that sign of respect, but you notice Jacob's eyes were locked on Roman the whole time.
Yep.
He never closed. Is like, I don't care. I see through you, and I'm gonna roll through you, and I'm taking your belt on Sunday afternoon. So that was really a powerful moment and a visual that, if you think about it, almost makes me want to think that, is it possible? Could we actually do indeed get a new world heavyweight champion? I mean, we'll see. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. So we can go to overall review.
And I'm going to have something to say about that come Friday night when we preview Clash in Italy. There is something that I definitely need to add to that. Let's just say I'm going to send a message to Triple H and the creative team to do something that they should never be afraid to do. And I'll elaborate a great deal more on that come Friday night. So with that being said, let's get to the overall review. I believe MF, I believe it's you who starts it off. So your thoughts on the go home edition of Monday Night Raw before Clash in Italy, the last show that will be televised here in the United States, because they're going to be going on a little mini tour of Italy and France and Spain over the next couple of weeks or so. The next time, the next show, the next TV that's going to be here in the States, we're going to it. June 12th, Friday Night SmackDown at the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence. So, but MF, let's get to your, let's start it off with you here with the overall thoughts on this Monday Night Raw final, the go-home show for Clash in Italy at Ohio State last night.
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good show. I thought they did a pretty good job. I don't think it was anything that was spectacular, but I still thought it was a solid show. I could easily give this about, honestly, 7 out of 10. I thought it was a passable show. I thought they did a fine job. So yeah, Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I think it was a passable show. I thought it was good, but not great. I mean, there were some things that were led up to, of course, a premium live event on Sunday. So, yeah, I'm gonna give this about maybe 7 out of 10. So, Florio, your thought, and then we'll get into NXT.
My star of last night's show, Montez Ford. Not only was Montez Ford excellent in the two backstage segments he shared with Seth Rollins, but he also showed out in his match against Rollins. This is nothing new for the Street Profits star, who has repeatedly made the most of his opportunities, approaching his matches with his unbridled athleticism and firing the crowd up until they have no choice but to care about his match. The character work has been strong. The will he or won't he regarding a potential heel turn is intriguing, and the result was the biggest standout of last night's show. If I had to put a letter grade on this show, it would be a B+. This was a strong show ahead of Clash in Italy. The opening and closing segments put over the brand's most prominent contributions to Sunday's show, while the unfortunate and undisclosed injuries suffered by Sol Ruca kept her from a go-home segment with Becky Lynch. The in-ring action was excellent, with Seth Rollins and Montez Ford, Penta and Javon Evans' Intercontinental title match, and Dominic and Rey and Rusev all having strong outings. The women's tag match was fine and hinted at a potential showdown between Bayley and Liv Morgan over the Women's World Championship by way of their brief altercation at ringside. Add in some aggression from Austin Theory and the latest tease of Maxine Dupree possibly aligning with the Vision in another quick backstage vignette, and you have a winning show. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Very good show last night indeed. B+ show. Now then, let's get to NXT. Tonight's NXT. WWE NXT refuses to slow down, promising a heated NXT Women's Championship collision, and plenty of speed action for tonight's show. Lola Vice finally fought Izzy Dame one-on-one with her NXT Women's Championship on the line. NXT champion Tony D'Angelo was unlikely to stay quiet after his latest collision with Mason Rook and Cam Hendricks. Shiloh Hill hoped to keep his growing momentum against Charlie Dempsey of Birthright. The next men's speed championship tournament began with the return to NXT of Nathan Frazier. Who would deliver on the night? Could fans see a brand new NXT Women's Champion by the end of the night? Let's find out right now, gentlemen. And we started it off with a match. It was Kalani Jordan going one-on-one with the women's speed champion, Ren Sinclair. Kalani Jordan wins the match in 11 minutes and 22 seconds. To start the match, the crowd chanted happy birthday in honor of Ren Sinclair, who celebrated her 31st birthday yesterday. Happy birthday indeed to the beautiful Ren Sinclair, or who as I affectionately call her, the girl next door of NXT. And you heard that crowd. That crowd was completely behind Ren Sinclair, finding new chance to root her on throughout. And it's hard not to. She's just so damn likable. She really, really is. And Booker T, though, on commentary, he was all for Kalani Jordan, allowing him and Vic Joseph to easily argue over who was right in this match. But as far as the match is concerned, this was 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5 stars. The dynamic of this match was an easy sell to this crowd that wanted to fully support Ren Sinclair. Kalani went after her established knee injury and got steady heat. This was as good as Ren Sinclair has ever looked in an NXT ring. Her selling was tight and gave Kalani a fantastic vehicle to build heel heat with the crowd. While Kalani Jordan is always at her best as the high flyer, she pulled out a variety of strong leg locks throughout this bout that showed off her technical chops. And by the end, it became clear, though, that Ren Sinclair was once again the loser for the sake of Kendall Gray's rise, and she lost more credibility as the current women's speed champion. But other than that, though, a very good match to start the show. 3 1/4, teetering on 3.5 stars. Even though the outcome was never in doubt, I'm not surprised Kalani won this match. So, not much more. MF, Kalani Jordan defeating Ren Sinclair 11-22.
3 1/4 stars. Absolutely agreed. I thought this was a really good show. It was a solid matchup. Look, Kalani gets a big win. There's really not much that will propel her up the ladder, no doubt about it. Beyond that, there's really not much more to add. And Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 1/4 as well, and also adding to why in her mind she believes that she should be the one to challenge Lola Vice and the NXT Women's Championship. So that definitely adds to it. So we'll see if that continues for Kalani, but for right now, it's a 3 1/4 star match. So let's move on, Florio.
Of course, NXT, we usually get a lot of cutouts here, and well, here's one of them. Dark State called out Saquon Sugar's lack of athletic traits next to their collegiate background, mocking his independent wrestling background. Cutler James called Sugar's reckless, while Dion Lennox admitted that he could have been the odd man out as well. Osiris Griffin refocused the group on their goal to take down champions and capture gold. Solid follow-up to last week's attack, though it was odd for Lennox to reclaim the lead mic role for the group so easily. This could have been the moment to test Griffin and see if he was ready to stand out as the lead man at Dark State. Instead, Lennox brushed past his recent mistakes and claimed to be the reason Dark State even exists, despite not being the leader. Whatever happens next, NXT has clearly chosen Lennox and Sugars as the driving forces behind this story, while Cutler and Griffin likely remain the tag team. So, nothing more to say, nothing really to get into there. Speed tournament. We didn't ask for it. We didn't really want it. But some actual news, something newsworthy actually came out of this. First match was Sean Legacy squaring off against Dorian Van Dux. Speed matches have 3-minute time limits. And Sean Legacy and Dorian Van Dux, they went the full 3 minutes. Match ends in a draw. No winner. both men eliminated. They're gone. So that means the other speed tournament matchup, which we'll get into in a little bit, the winner of the other speed match between Nathan Frazier and Romeo Moreno, that man now automatically moves on to next week to challenge Lexus King for the men's speed championship. I'll tell you what, these two are phenomenal athletes, but this format had them rushing from the outset. It led to multiple sloppy mistakes. This is the risk of the speed format. Even good wrestlers are going to struggle to get in all their offense under 3 minutes. With the time limit draw, though, hopefully a rematch can come out of this without a clock, allowing them both to show out. It is honestly surprising by NXT standards that time limit draws are mostly rare. This time it made sense to protect both men and fuel a potential friendly rivalry. So we're going to, and Van Dux carries himself with a heel edge despite playing nice with the faces for now. And that's probably why Booker T likes him on commentary. Both men have great looks and unreal athleticism that should carry them far if they can move beyond the speed tournament format. And this is something that we all agree on when it comes to this whole speed stuff. They should consider raising the standard time limit to 5 minutes for speed matches, since that gives more room for talent to recover from mistakes. So we're going to NA this. All right. Moving on. Jada Parker squaring off against Layla Diggs. Layla Diggs, you can catch her on LFG Sunday nights on A&E. She's part of this new crop of talent for this very exciting new season of LFG. Layla, and she had Natalia. She had Natty Neidhart in her corner against Jada Parker. And it was Ms. Parker winning the match in 3:59. So a rare win for Ms. Parker. This was more or less an extended squash, and it probably should have been less than that. The crowd only wanted to see Ms. Parker dominate. Let me tell you about Layla Diggs. She is athletic and finding her character enough to get TV time. However, she did not come off as a real challenge for Ms. Parker despite the way the match played out. The real story here is that Ms. Parker and Natty are on a collision course, and that should be a fun test for one of NXT's most popular women. So, and the crowd only cared about Jada in this match, barely reacting to any offense from Layla Diggs. So, so we're not gonna waste any time on that. Even though it was great to see Ms. Parker finally win a match for a change. Moving on, promo segment. NXT champion Tony D'Angelo arrived to call out the man he saw as a true threat to his title, Naraku. He arrived to make clear he would protect the champion until they reached their destiny and went to war for the NXT championship. Cam Hendricks arrived to mock D'Angelo ahead of their match next week. Champion was not fazed by the challenger. When Hendricks tried to sneak attack Tony D again, Naraku stopped him and clotheslined him out of the ring. Good segment on paper that suffered a bit from Hendricks' acting. While he is clearly not supposed to be a threat to D'Angelo, he came even worse than planned. He also interrupted a genuinely intriguing dynamic between Tony D and Naraku. This is the story that the NXT Championship should be all about. Mason Rook is also still a threat, but D'Angelo and Naraku have an instant chemistry from their presentation that needs to be explored. So, Mason Rook questioned Robert Stone's decision to give Hendricks the match next week, and Naraku warned Rook to stay out of that match. And I believe that match will be for the championship next week. So, man, oh man, a rare NXT title match on TV. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, the other speed tournament final. Returning to NXT, Nathan Frazier. Alongside of his partner, Axiom in his corner. He went up against Romeo Moreno. He had Noam Dar in his corner. Winner of the match, 2 minutes and 58 seconds with 2 seconds remaining. Romeo Moreno wins the match. Biggest win for Romeo Moreno thus far. Could it lead to an even bigger win next week when he challenges Lexus King for the men's speed championship? He just defeated one half of one of the greatest NXT Tag Team Championship teams of all time in Axe and Fraxium. And we know how damn good they were as tag team champions. I'm just perplexed and dumbfounded as to why Fraxium is not getting more opportunities on SmackDown. That is beyond me. But it is what it is. In an inverse result to the other tournament match of the night, this contest perfectly used every second to maximize the talent involved. The flow of the match was unreal, highlighting two phenomenal high flyers that trusted one another through every second of action. The way Frazier never hesitated in the closing seconds made Romeo's win all the more impressive and shocking. While he is only 2 matches into his NXT run, Romeo Moreno might have just made enough of an emphatic statement to have earned the chance to dethrone Lexis King next week. And it is a shame to see Frazier back in NXT losing, but he was protected by the true shock of a result in a match he mostly controlled. So, awesome stuff there. And now we move on to Shiloh Hill. He went one-on-one with Charlie Dempsey. Charlie Dempsey had all of his birthright brethren in his corner. And Shiloh Hill wins the match in 8 minutes and 44 seconds. And there's not much more to say on that. I believe MF, I think MF gets this next relevant thing here. So MF, Shiloh Hill over Charlie Dempsey, 8:44.
Yeah, this is about 2.5 stars. A solid matchup. Could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not going to be too hard on it. They did a really good job. Solid fight, good battle, outcome never in doubt. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5 stars for me as well. I mean, it was a fine match. It definitely could have been better in some areas, but not really gonna complain all that much about it. So nothing more to say. It's your Florio.
All right, and next week on NXT, Tony D'Angelo will indeed defend the NXT Championship against Cam Hendricks. That match is for the title. Lizzie Rain will go one-on-one with Zarya, and Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights will team up against Dark State next week. Main event of the evening, NXT Women's Championship on the line. The champion Lola Vice defending against Izzy Dame with Shawn Spears and Nico Vance in her corner as always. And the winner of the match, 10 minutes and 46 seconds, and still the NXT Women's Champion. It is Lola Vice. Michael Bullock, the difference maker was OTM chasing out Vance and Spears, keeping it one-on-one. And it was Lola who just barely survived Izzy Dame. I thought there were moments where we thought Izzy was going to steal the title, but somehow, some way, Lola still the champ.
Yeah, 3 stars for me. I mean, like you said, I mean, when Vance and Spears at ringside, I mean, it looked like it wasn't looking good for her, but OTM evened the odds to make sure that this was one-on-one. And then you saw Izzy Dame. She went for that title, tossed it to Lola, and then kicked her like right in the face with it. So that's when we thought, oh no, is her title reign going to end? But nope, the champ stays the champ. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
3.25 for this. Just give me a moment here. As far as the Shiloh Hill and Charlie Dempsey match, for me, I got a little sidetracked here because we got another exciting game going on right now with the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. Golden Knights up 2-1 with 1:07 to go, looking to go to the Stanley Cup final for the second time in 3 years. I think that's why I got a little sidetracked here. As far as the Hill Dempsey match goes, it's only 2.5 stars. It did not work. It felt like those two men were working different matches entirely, and Dempsey was awkwardly no-sold in moments he needed to look stronger. Still, it is clear that Shiloh Hill is NXT's priority, so there was no way he could lose to a man that barely feels relevant these days. The goal was to get Hill a win and set up the Mr. NXT pageant announcement. That was accomplished. Perhaps the side goal was to move Hill past Birthright because at this point, he seems completely uninterested in dealing with them anymore. You certainly can't blame him for that. So, as far as Lola and Izzy goes, like I said, it was a three teetering on 3.25. Heavily overbooked down the stretch, including a poorly timed ref bump that only made Izzy look worse in defeat. With the calling taken out of the equation early, the match could have played much more clean, especially since the challenger had already pinned the champion in the past. Instead, the solid action was interrupted by a messy home stretch that simply made it clear that the champion was several steps above the challenger. Especially given all the build, this could have been better, though the chemistry between these two is likely too limited to force a rematch anytime soon. And Lola has multiple interesting challengers on the horizon, the likes of Callie Armstrong and Kalani Jordan and Kendall Gray, and all are likely to give her a better match when the time is right. So not much more. 3 teetering on 3.25. MF, your thoughts on the main event? Your girl Lola still champ.
Yeah, 3.25. Solid matchup, no doubt about it. The right decision, though, at the end. I don't think there was any argument on that as well. I thought they did a fine job with it. So, yeah, nothing more to say, Anthony, and we'll just move right on along.
All right. We just bear with me for one moment here.
That's it.
It's over. That's it. Ball game.
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights are going back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
How about that? A clean sweep. The Vegas Golden Knights, they have defeated the Colorado Avalanche 2-1. They win the series 4-0 in a clean sweep. And with that, they just won themselves the Clarence Campbell Bowl, boys. We're gonna see the Campbell Bowl in just a few minutes. So,
how about that? Last night we had a clean sweep with the Knicks over the Cavs. Now we got one in the NHL.
And John Tortorella has just taken his second team to the Stanley Cup Final. You remember he took Tampa Bay in 2004. And now he's taken the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas going to the finals. What a story. And the way they did it against who was, without question, the best team in the NHL this season. And honestly, my front runner to win the Stanley Cup this year.
But oh boy, I mean
wow.
The Vegas Golden Knights, I'm sure they heard that talk and they were like, "Oh, really? Watch us."
Oh, we're gonna watch them all right. And now
they say, you call that the best team in the NHL?
Two out of the last 3 and their third trip to the Stanley Cup Final all time. Look, I don't know what it is, but that when the NHL brought Vegas into the league, I don't think none of us thought that this was going to be the outcome. We will always think that, it's going to take them a long time before they get to the Cup Final. And Vegas
look at their inaugural year.
Yeah.
Their inaugural
first year
they go to the Stanley Cup Final.
But lose to Ovechkin and the Capitals.
But they won the respect of everyone.
Yep.
In 2023.
Then they won the Cup. They won the Cup within the first 5 years. And now look at this. And now 3 Cup Finals in almost 8 or 9 years of existence? That's amazing. Unheard of in NHL.
Second in the
last 4. I mean, that's unheard of in this day and age of the NHL.
And how long has this team been in existence for now?
Since the 17-18 season.
And now
so you're talking about almost.
And now here they are going to a third Stanley Cup Final.
Cup Final, yeah.
It's
unbelievable.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a team that I can ever remember that has had this much success this early in their franchise. And that's a major credit to to the general manager. That's a commitment to the ownership. That's a commitment to the front office of the Vegas Golden Knights to have that kind of success this early is unheard of in this era of the National Hockey League, and is a testament to them, the players committed and buying into the system. And you also got to think about this. John Tortorella was not the head coach in the season. It was Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy who,
got let
by the
go.
way, yeah, but remember, Cassidy was the one that brought Vegas the cup. He was the head coach that brought Vegas the Stanley Cup. And then a couple of years ago, he gets released. John Tortorella takes over. And now Vegas is going to the final. Unbelievable.
And he just took over on March 29th. March 29th.
And now they wait. Because now they got to wait to see who's coming out of the East.
Some people were probably, and the thing is, some people were like, "Why would Vegas wait? Why would Vegas wait this long to bring in a new coach after they fire their original one?" It was March 29th, but you can't question it now because here they are going to another Stanley Cup final.
And I know there's a few people that is already getting a little sick and tired of Vegas. This is not gonna squash those haters. They are so amped. They're so done with Vegas. And now here they are.
Like, yeah, we were happy for them in the first. They were like, yeah, we were happy for them in the first year when they did it, but ever
and then
since
winning
then,
it all 3 years ago.
But they're starting to get sick and tired of them, and I'm sure whoever comes out of the East, those Vegas haters are going to root for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Carolina Hurricanes.
Whether it's the Carolina Hurricanes or the Montreal Canadiens.
Or the Montreal Canadiens.
They're going to root for one of those two to say.
Carolina is up 2-1 right now. A crucial game for tomorrow.
In Montreal.
And now the question is, does Vegas touch the cup? Are they gonna touch the trophy?
I seriously doubt it.
Well, they did the first time. I don't know.
Mark Stone, the captain, going over to it.
Yeah.
So they're going over to it now alongside of NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly.
It looks like the whole team's gonna come around. Yeah, here comes the family portrait. They're all coming together. They are far away from that trophy. They are far away from that trophy. They are not touching it. They are far away from that trophy.
And say what you want about John Tortorella. I know he's very controversial, and he's done a lot of questionable and controversial things, but he delivers results. And he did it with Tampa. He did it. He's done it everywhere he's been. Tampa, Philly, Columbus. Even with us, MF, with the Rangers, we had some great years under him too.
Yeah.
And what a story. 2 months ago.
Yeah, look how far away they are from that trophy. They're not touching it. They are not touching it. You can already tell they're not touching it.
Well,
they are at least 2 feet. They're at least a foot away from that cup. They are not touching that trophy tonight.
The only trophy they want to touch is the Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup, and I don't blame them because you remember the first year. You remember the first year when they won the Clarence Campbell Bowl. They took it. They took the trophy. They touched it. They took it.
Nope.
And a lot of fans were like, was that a mistake? Is that going to be, what are they going to do?
It proved to be a mistake.
Like, what are you doing?
Washington,
what are you doing?
But you also got to remember. But then Washington had the moment, and Ovechkin took the trophy. So it was like, okay. Well, what does that mean? So, I mean, sometimes you touch it, it works. Sometimes you don't. Who knows? They decide they're not going to touch it. Is that going to work for them? Is that going to be superstitious for them to win the cup? I guess we'll find out in about a week or so, because now we got to wait because, yep.
Well, there you have it, folks. For the first time, for the second time in 4 years, the Vegas Golden Knights are going to the Stanley Cup Final, completing a clean 4-0 sweep of the best team in the NHL all season long, the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche. Very impressive. All right.
And it's the dreaded curse of that President's Trophy.
Indeed it is, Bullock. Indeed it is. So let's get to the overall review here. Look, a lot of cutouts, unfortunately. Beyond the main event, it was a building blocks show highlighting growing rivalries with matches that were mostly forgettable. The exception was the men's speed championship tournament match between Romeo Moreno and Nathan Frazier that delivered about as perfect a 3-minute bout as possible. Beyond that, nothing is likely to be talked about in even a month's time. Even the main event of Lola Vice versus Izzy Dane was a good TV match, but hardly lived up to the month-long build. Tony D'Angelo will be next up to deliver a title match conclusion to a filler title challenge with Cam Hendricks. Lizzie Rain will also be back in action against Zarya, which is the likely fight of the night. That's going to be a one-man fight. As a whole, this week was forgettable, but did enough to set the stage for better to come, forgiving some sloppy moments across the night. This is not one of those good shows. I could honestly maybe call this a thumbs in the middle kind of show, like a 5.5. That's the best I can do. So, not much more. MF, overall thoughts on tonight's NXT?
Yeah, it is a 50-50 show. It was a 5 out of 10. I wish it could have been better, but it was solid for what it was worth. Really nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, you got the final say here tonight.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. I mean, you had some moments, but then most of the others were pretty much forgettable. So nothing more to say. Let's call it a night, Florio.
We do have one last order of business, though, before we do that. So it's not often I do this, but I'm going to turn the mic over to good old MF Michael Fletcher, because he's going to let you know the future content, including a huge announcement for Sunday. MF, it's all yours, babe.
All right, so we're going to start it off per the usual. On Friday night, it is going to be our version of the Cerebral Smack Talk, live on YouTube and StreamYard.com on the Braves Fan 95. We are going to recap TNA Wrestling. We're recapping technically the Go Home show for SmackDown Live. And then obviously we will preview the Clash in Italy, the big show that goes down on Sunday. Now, Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, please be note of the start time. We will be doing this after Clash in Italy is over. That may be between 5 and 6 o'clock. We're going to work the detail. We don't know when it's going to go, but please be note that when the show goes off the air, I think it's going to be about maybe 5, 6 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood, we will have a very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. We are not only going to be recapping the Clash of Italy, we will also be recapping El Noche de Grandes, the Night of Giants. It's a grand night for AAA as well. And we will have, hopefully, the usual suspects, Anthony Florio, Michael Bullock, myself, and we will be bringing in, for the first time ever on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, Trash Panda will be in the house. Jake Turner will be making his debut on our show. Now, you have seen me work with Jake in the past on his channel. Jake wanted it to come, and he wanted it to come tonight, but then I told him, you know what? Let's do it for Sunday. He has agreed. We got to work the particulars on that particular part. However, we will have him in the house on Sunday. We are very excited to bring a new guest to the dinner table, as we would say. So, with that said, Anthony Florio, it is all yours, my friend.
All right, MF. That is very awesome news. And on behalf of all of us here at Talking Wrestling TXN, we are very excited about this. And we are very much looking forward to working with Jake on Sunday evening. So that is going to be something else. So, all right. And then after Sunday, of course, 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25. Monday Night Raw, the fallout from Clash in Italy, and then NXT as well. So that's it. So until Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, always and forever, our First Lady, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your week. And until Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you have been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. And bye, everybody, bye.